Hey guys, today we're going to do a step-by-step braid feed in tutorial video. We're going to do intermediate steps and also some beginner steps. So this will be a two-part video from start to the end. Let's get into it. First step, you're going to get your hair, and for this video I'm going to be doing a two-tone, which is going to be a 27 and also a 1, which is like a black and a blondish color, a brownish blondish color. And I like this particular brand. It has like a step for how to braid. First you're going to section all the hair out into equal sizes, and then you're gonna part your hair, and it may take a couple times, but if you're braiding on your own head, you're gonna need a mirror in front and also in back. Here I used my phone and then I used my restroom mirror. You want to be super tedious if you want to get your parts straight, so it will take some time. Don't think that you're gonna get it on like the first part. It may take a couple times, and mind you, you want them to be even, so your parts or your middle braid doesn't end up in the center of your head. So once you get it parted, you're gonna plait your hair down so that none of the hair gets crossed. And then keep in mind, this first part of the video is a little bit more intermediate. I'm not as detailed in the steps, but once you get your parts even and sectioned, you're just going to keep it all the way through. You want everything to be even. You don't want any braids to be thicker in width than the others. So you want everything to kind of be like equal in size. Using my phone to take a video to get a close-up on my parts, that always helps me to get a pretty straight line. So once I watch that video back and I see that there is a kink somewhere down the line, I go back and then I clean it up. Now, as you can see, I already took out my baby hairs, and they're not perfected, but I have them to the side. So once I braid the hair, once I feed in the hair, I don't have to go back and pull anything out and break and damage my edges. So they're already out. Now, on this particular day, I didn't do a piece by piece as I'm feeding in the braid, but I just wanted you to get a look of how the braid looks in size as I add the hair. So you want to get your edge control and lay the hair down on each side before you start feeding the hair in, so that it's as smooth as possible. And as you can see, once I was done, it was very neat, it was very smooth, and it looks as if I went to a salon, the way that I took my time and I parted and I added the black and blonde in evenly. So here I have my daughter. In this section of the video, I'm going to go step by step, literally. So I've washed her hair. Number one, after you wash it, you want to condition, greasen it, and section it off. When you section it off, you want to comb it out, plait it so that the hair doesn't kink up too much, so it's not hard to braid it, or the braids are not bulky once you start. Now with my daughter, because of the type of hair that she has, I didn't braid it the same day, so the next day it was dry. I had to oil it down, put some heat protectant on it, and I actually pulled it out with my hot comb after, I brushed it, and then I pulled it out with my hot comb so that it would be a lot straighter and easy to manage. If you have her type of hair, it helps to pull it out either with a blow dryer or a hot comb. Then you're going to part the hair into the pattern that you're going for, and you want it to be even. So you're going to start in the first top section, and you're going to carry that line to the bottom section so that it is evenly parted in the back, in the second section. So once you have parted both, you're going to have a straight line from the front to the back, and it will be even once you get down to the neck of your head. Once you have each braid parted, you're going to plait it down as well, or put it in a rubber band just to keep it sectioned off. Once you do that, I like to go in with the edge control down the part and then take the comb and repart it so that that part is super crispy. Once I have that part nice and straight, I plait the hair to section it off so that it doesn't come apart or gets in the way of any other parts. So you're going to continue to do this all the way through. From that first half part, you're going to bring it all the way back to the second part so that it's even. Now, after I did that all the way through, as you can see, everything is sectioned off pretty evenly and equally. And the way that it falls at the back of the hair, each braid ends at the back of the neck with enough hair so that it's even, so that a middle braid in the middle of the head doesn't end in the center of the head. It flows all the way to the back. So now that I have everything parted and it's equal, I'm ready to prepare my hair. The everything that you're going to feed in. So once you determine what size hair you want, what size braids you want, you're going to take the edge control and slick down the hair of the braid on each side. Once you brush it down so that it's pretty smooth, you're going to be sure that nothing is sticking out. Everything is nice and laid. You're going to grab your bag of hair. You're going to pull out the section of hair, and because I'm doing 3 braids on each side, I'm going to section it off into 3s for each braid. And then I'm going to take one of those section of the 3, and I'm going to distribute a small amount of hair equally until I have ended that section. So you're going to take that first part and you're going to divide it into a 1/3 and a 2/3 of hair, because once you get that 1/3 amount, you're going to wrap it around the 2/3 amount of hair so that you have a 3-part braid and it is all equally sectioned in the same amount. You're going to use this T-shaped section of hair, and this is how you're going to start off your braid. So you're going to grab one piece of hair in the front of the braid with the 1/3 T-shape amount and put that on the one piece of hair, and you're going to braid the hair in as if you're starting off a braid with no hair, with no weave add-in. You're going to go about 2 braid sections, and then you're going to add in that first piece of hair. I like to add the hair in as if I am connecting it on a hook in between my first finger and my middle finger. And you're going to braid the hair in once on the right, once on the left, and then grab another piece of hair. You're going to then, as I like to do, as if you're hooking it in between your first finger and your middle finger, braid the right side, braid the left side, add another piece of hair. Be mindful that you're going to continue to grab the hair on each side of the natural hair so that it is nice and tight and all the hair is being included. You're going to continue to follow through with adding the hair every 2 strokes. 1 right side, 1 left side, add hair, 1 left side, 1 right side, add hair, until you have no more sections to feed in to the braid. Remember, you're going to be hooking that between the first finger and the middle finger and continue to braid all the way through. You're going to do this all the way down until you have no more hair to feed in. Because my daughter is just 6 years old and I did not go back to the beauty supply to grab more hair, these braids are not going to be very jumbo size. In that case, you would have feed-in hair to go all the way down to the neck of the head. But because I wanted these braids to look very kid-friendly, not very long, and not very big in size, they're going to look very natural, like as if it were her real hair. So you're just going to continue to add that hair in. As you can see, the braid started off smaller in the front, and as I continue to work my way down, the braid got just a little bit fatter in size. And then you're just going to braid the hair down, keep braiding. Make sure you're grabbing all of that hair as you're working your way down all the way until the end of the braid. Be sure that the client or person that you're doing the hair on is holding their head correctly, because that plays a big part in the smoothness and neatness of the braid. So once you get that braid all the way down, be sure to continue to braid all the way until you're not gripping any more natural hair, so that the braid doesn't have a hump at the bottom of the braid before you start plaiting it. And then you're just going to braid that all the way down to the end, nice and tight and smooth. Make sure they continue to hold their head correctly, and just plait it all the way down to the end, to the very, very end. Even if you're going to be curling or dipping these braids, you still want to braid it all the way down to the end so that it doesn't unravel as you work your way through the head. And so one thing that I have taken into consideration when I'm plaiting is that the tighter you plait the braid to the end, the less work you'll have to do once you're completely done before you dip these braids. Because you always want to dip your braids just to smoothen them out, and then they don't come apart as time go by. It's gonna like seal it shut. Now, because my daughter is very rough on her hair, and her edges are not very long, I'm just going to put a dab of edge control on her edges, comb them up, and then I'm going to use the back of the rat tail comb to smooth that up, and so that it's tucked within the braid more so, and then the braid is still, the edges are still smooth and slick down. And I'm just gonna bring you guys in just a little bit closer so that you can see how smooth and even the braid is from the beginning of the braid to the end of the braid, and it looks very clean. So you're going to repeat the same steps again. You're going to put the edge control and slick it down on each side of the hair. As you pull it and you put tension on the hair, it's going to lay down, especially since it has that edge control on there. Remember, you're going to divide the hair into a 1/3 and 2/3 section, and then you're going to take that 1/3 piece of hair, loop it around the 2/3 section of hair, and then you'll have a T-shaped section of hair that you're going to start the braid off with. So you're going to take the 1/3 part that you looped around, and you're going to take one piece of the hair on the scalp, and you're going to take the 1/3 looped around portion, which should be in your index finger, and you're going to use that to start off braiding the feet in. So you're going to start braiding as if you did not have any feet in hair. You're going to go through about two, I guess you can say like braids. So that's one, and then you're gonna do one more, two, and then you're going to grab a piece of hair. You're going to take it, hook it in between your index and middle finger, and then you're going to continue to braid on the right side, on the left side, and grab another piece of hair. You're going to hook it again in your first finger and middle finger, braid that right side, braid that left side, and add another piece of hair. Now, if you're ever in a situation where you're low on hair and you may not have time to run to the salon, you can always distribute the hair out in a smaller feed-in amount so that it goes throughout the hair still evenly, but once you get to the neck of the hair, the braids will still be the same size. Once you start doing the hair often, you'll kind of understand what exactly it is that I'm saying. If you're just not starting off, you may not catch on as easy to what I'm saying. But with feed-ins, it's all about feeding the hair in so that it's kind of like the same size. So like a braid that's on the edge of your hair, you're going to not need as many feed-ins because you're working with a small amount of hair. Once you get to the middle of the head, you're going to need a little bit more feed-in pieces because you have a longer length of hair that you're feeding it into. You don't want a super bulky braid in the middle, so those feed-in pieces are not going to be the same size as the feed-in pieces that you were feeding in on the edge of the hair. where you had a very small amount and you didn't have as many. So you're going to continue to just, like, as you can see, just a second ago, there was a moment where I probably did about 4 right pulls, 4 left pulls before I added more hair, because we're getting to a longer length of hair that we're feeding into. But as you can see, the braids are still the same size and they look even and equal as far as the size of the braids. The feed-in method, when you're measuring it and you're adding, as you can see, I'm getting to the bottom closer to the neck. And once I start plaiting that hair, I want to be able to have enough hair to braid down so that it's even with the braid that I braided previous to the one that I'm currently working on. You don't want to finish a braid down to the end and then it's half the length of the braid that you just did previously. So that's one of the reasons why you want to try to feed in closer to the middle or the end, the same as where you left off the braid prior. So you're just going to braid that all the way down to the end, braid it all the way down to the end. And a lot of times, if you're able to go back to the beauty supply, if you need more hair, or if you already originally started off with enough hair, it's good to add more hair once you get down towards the neck of the braid, if you want the braids to be really long. But because these are on my daughter, they're kid friendly braids and they look fairly natural, the amount of hair that we had for this style, it worked, and it ended up working. And as you continue to do feed-ins, you will get better and better when it comes to sectioning off the hair and feeding in the different sizes to your liking. And this is just what I was referring to. The braids both end in the same length and they're the same size as far as the width. So once you like continue the method all the way through every braid, I finished the head and all the braids are just about the same size and length. You're gonna grease the scalp. I like to grease my children's scalp so that the hair isn't itchy, because sometimes the braiding hair can be itchy depending on what brand you get. So I make sure that their scalp is super hydrated. So I like to grease the hair. I'm gonna grease it, kind of massage it a little bit. And then after I grease the hair and massage it a little bit, I'm going to also put some setting mousse on the hair, which is going to help lay that hair so that it can last, that neat look can last for more than just the day after you get it done. It'll actually set and lay for at least a week, depending on if you're tying your hair down or not. I personally feel like without putting the setting mousse on the hair after braids, it doesn't give them that fresh, crisp look. I feel as though if you skip this step, the hair is going to look very dry, whether you grease the scalp or not, because just keep in mind the grease is greasing the scalp. It's not doing very much to the hair. So as you can see, like once it starts to dissolve and saturate into the hair, the braids look they look very shiny and very freshly done. I think that it's a very big step that you don't want to miss. If you're gonna do the baby hairs, as you can see, I've did the baby hairs, the edges, and it came out very very nice. It looks very, very nice, as if she didn't just sit in her mom's living room and got her hair done. This particular style that I did, I put some rods at the end of her hair and dipped them in hot water just to kind of give her a little bit of curls at the end. I didn't want to do hair beads. I wanted to do curls. I feel like curls are super girly, and my daughters are really rough on the beads, so we haven't done beads in a while. But if you want to keep it super simple, you can grab you some rods. They have different sizes at the beauty supply. And you can always put these at the end of some braids and dip them in some hot water to give it a super simple look. For kids, it's always easy to just grab some bows, some barrettes, some nakas, to enhance their braids or their hairdo. For adults, you can always grab some hair clips. They have silver ones, gold ones, beads. You have all kinds of hair accessories that you can add to the braids just to kind of like make them pop, and then also add some style and some sense of uniqueness to personalize the hairstyle. But this is just a beginner friendly, little bit of intermediate hair tutorial that you can use for feed-in braids. If you're interested in seeing more tutorials, be sure to give some feedback just to say maybe how much this tutorial has helped you, and I appreciate your time. Have a great day, and I wish you the best of luck on your learning journey. Have a good one. Chosen One out.